Peace and love, everybody. Salute, 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 everyone. Peace, peace and love. Hope everybody could hear me. Hold on, let me make sure. Let me make sure my settings are straight. Of course. I think I'm good to go. Peace to everybody. Peace to you. Happy Sunday, people. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's well. Let me check in on my chat to see if we are in the building. Are we good? Can you guys hear me? Put a 9 in the chat if we are good. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, I'm checking. Wonderful. I got scared for a moment. Okay. Salute to everybody. I'm glad that you guys can hear me. I'm like, did I mess something up, you guys? Damn. Okay. Peace, everybody. Happy Sunday. Okay, yes, I see some 9s. Salute to everybody in the building. Let me shout some people out. Yes, we got the King DP. Salute to you, King. Nice to see you. Drumming for Life says, cue the Grease song. Ciao, we're going to get into it. Salute to the King Demo in the building. Salute to you, King. The richest one is in the building. My beautiful sister Cameron is in the building. Nice to see you, sis. Thank you for coming. We got the King Kano in the building. Salute to you. My Leo twin, the lovely King Darrow is in the building. Salute, King. We got the King G McCall. Nice to see you. The King Stephen. Peace be upon you too. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you and salute to everyone. You guys, I'm not even going to cap. I'm not in the best of moods after what I saw this morning, because I don't know about you guys, but I did not purchase. Trying to reach for my little stuff here. I did not purchase the fight, the pay-per-view fight for Tank Davis. The energy just wasn't giving. As you guys know, if you guys have been keeping up with me, I have not been enthralled, you guys, by this particular fight. And, you know, the result of last night's fight pretty much stood by a lot of my sentiments going into the fight build. These past few months. And I stand by my decision not to pay for that. Firstly, because I'm not anyone who will ever invest in something that I do not find to be in the spirit of reciprocity. And that was the case with this particular Tank Davis fight. Nothing against the King Lamont Roach, because as we will get into, he showed up and he did, I guess, what was allotted to him. You know what I'm saying? He made do with what was allotted to him in that particular matchup. So no shade to him, but I've just been very, I don't know, my energy is lackluster in seeing the lackluster performance, I guess. And I'm disappointed, truly, as a longtime supporter of Tank Davis. And of course, I hope to open up some dialogue around, that type of honest assessment of what it is that we saw, what it is that we could expect, what it is that we had been previously expecting. Did what we see last night live up to any of those expectations? Did they explore maybe underdeveloped perspectives that we had about Tank Davis? Did they open up new chambers in our minds about boxing as a whole, about the 135 division, about superstardom, about what it can do to these fighters of this current day and age, as opposed to the fighters of late? All of those things came to mind, you guys. I hear a lot of what Tank Davis has been stating for these past several months. And, I look at people who we know and that we respect in the game, who we would call, GOATs, the giants. And, they've all had their fair share of the spotlight. They've all had their fair share of, having millions of dollars in their bank account and having people wait on them hand and foot and all of these things that go around throughout, within, and outside of boxing, and all the pressures that come with bearing all of those things. And so I can't ever say that I would discredit Tank Davis for how he feels about dealing with that particular level of pressure, especially being among the elite, or who people highly regard him to be, as an elite fighter. But I think that, I don't think any of those particular pressures of the people, let's say like, Tommy Hearns or Sugar Ray, or, Marvelous Marvin, and all the people that we love even before then and since then. I don't know. It's just, it's a cowering that I can't respect. And I won't allow myself to respect that type of approach just because it's of a fighter that I like. You know what I'm saying? I'm very tough. And so I don't, if I see a level of folly somewhere, I'm going to be honest about it, and you will be held accountable for that. And I'm going to question you, and I'm going to ask questions why. I'm going to pry. I'm going to open up, the layers. I'm going to peel them back, and I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to expect you to explicate to me what is going on. Last night was the most lackluster performance I've seen for Tank Davis, period. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go through my mental computer and visualize, a fight that could compare. And, I just can't see one. You know what I'm saying? Not that he hasn't had off nights before. Everybody goes through them. There are moments that he probably felt that he wasn't at his best, where we thought he looked spectacular, and vice versa. But as far as I can account for it, the man looked, it was just a wild thing to experience from somebody who we, deemed to be the face of boxing, and certainly the number one fighter at 135. It's just a continuance of playing in our faces. And if you guys have been keeping up with me, which most of my real ones in here have, that I have been talking a lot about Tank Davis and my stance on him being 1 foot out the door. I think it went beyond that last night, because not only had the rhetoric that had been leading up, in the fight's buildup, all surrounding themes of him leaving the sport, exiting the sport, being disenchanted by the sport, being dispassionate about the sport. That was one thing. We had the rhetoric, and that was, beyond a red flag for me. It was a damn, it was a hell no for me all the way around. You know what I'm saying? But that was the rhetoric, right? But I thought that we saw in the fight last night the action that stamped the rhetoric, because it wasn't the first time Tank Davis had been mentioning retiring over the past 3 months, right? He had mentioned it over the years, let's say 2-3 years, something like that. We heard him mention in the past, oh, I want to retire by 30. I want to retire by 30. He said that before, right? So it wasn't that it was something new that we heard him mention the word retirement in the past 3 months. But what I found to be exemplified in last evening's performance was the action that followed the rhetoric, which is something completely different. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of things on the table, you guys. And excuse me if I'm a bit flustered, but there's a lot of things that I want to say, but of course I don't want to go overboard. But at the same time, I want to be truthful and give, a thoughtful opinion. I guess at the end of the day, I say these things to say that my ultimate opinion is that Tank Davis needs to leave now. And of course, that isn't anything new. I've been saying that to you guys for quite some time now, and I stand by that, especially as exemplified via the performance that we saw. I think that Tank Davis should just go on ahead and close the chapter out, because I do feel like it's a disservice to himself to continue lying as if he wants to be there and then putting on performances like we saw last evening. And then it's also a triple disservice to us paying boxing fans, even though I did not necessarily purchase the fight, but I have purchased and supported Tank Davis fights in the past. And so I still consider myself a paying customer, despite the fact that I did not purchase last night's fight. I'm somebody who's supported him and has done so for a very long time. I think it's a disservice to us threefold that, we show up in any type of manner or fashion and get a heartless Tank Davis, a Tank Davis who looked like he was doing a sparring session. You know what I'm saying? A Tank Davis who looked like there was no goal to achieve. There was no aim to claim in the ring. Very interesting stuff, you guys, and we'll divulge. And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it as well. Definitely a greasy situation in what is going on in the current climate right now. And, it's disheartening, you guys, and I can't help but be left wondering. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering this as well. What is the trajectory for Tank Davis in the sport, you guys? You know what I'm saying? That is the ultimate question that we need to be asking about Tank Davis. What is the trajectory here? I'm not interested in, your rematch. I'm not interested in your future if I do not know what the trajectory is. If I do not know what it is that you see as an outline for yourself. If I don't know what you're trying to achieve. None of these fights in the future that we can think of matter if he is not on the trajectory to want to claim and solidify his place as the king he says he is, or the king that he's been saying he has been for all of these years prior to his recent sentiments that have been shared with us. What is the trajectory for Tank Davis in the sport? In the sport. And is it worth tuning in for? That trajectory, whatever it may be. Let's say if it is to remain within the sport, is it going to be worth tuning in for, considering what we saw last night, you guys? What I saw last night was an absolute disservice to boxing. That's my stance on that. Nothing that I saw last night serviced boxing, benefited boxing in any matter or capacity or degree. Okay? Whatsoever. What was the motive of the fight last night, you guys? In terms of, what was the aim? What was the thought of accomplishment in Tank Davis's mind? What was he aiming for? I saw no aims being reached for. I saw no intensity. I saw no objectives trying to be achieved last night. What were the terms that were set within his mind for that fight? What was he trying to really achieve and accomplish and acquire as a fighter, as a man, as a warrior? What were the terms that were to be set last night? What was the driving force and ultimate destination of Tank Davis in the performance that we saw last night? It was virtually non-existent to me, you guys. I saw no destination trying to be attained. I saw no driving force behind his actions or his output in that performance. I saw no ultimate aim and claim and stake to a particular goal or vision. I saw none of that. The fight looked to me, like an acquaintance between two familiar people. Okay? That's what that fight looked like to me. It looked like a fight whose purpose was merely to say, oh yeah, I remember you. I'm still good at this thing we used to do together. And the other person is saying, yeah, I'm still good at this thing too. That's the only thing that I saw. Nothing more than that. There was no turf to claim. There was no statement to be made. There was no message to stamp. There was no need to stamp the message to each other. There was no certification of each other. There was no having to go through the other to prove yourself. There was no blood to spill. There was nothing. No shred or ounce of rearranging the room. It was as if they came to not stir up change. Right? If that makes sense to you guys. The energy between them looked like they did not come to set fires. They did not come to set fires last night. They came to quell and pacify the division. That's what it looked like to me. Like they came to shut up all the complaints that's been generated about Tank's inactivity, or he got to fight this person, or to justify the people that have been quote unquote ducking him or whatever. Insert Lamont Roach. And that was going to quell all of the discourse and demands for activity from Tank Davis. That's what that looked like to me, a stand-in. This was the answer to bring placidity to all of the dialogue that has been generating around Tank Davis and his movement or non-movement. It was a pacifier, like one would give a baby when they're crying. You guys, you know, when I say a disservice, that's exactly what I mean. Nothing was served. There was no purpose behind that fight. They had no purpose for each other. Those men might as well have been kicking back playing video goddamn games. No purpose was being served because there was no purpose set. They were just two niggas in the ring. Two motherfuckers in the ring. Nobody had an objective to get through the other man in order to claim something. Nobody had the heat. Nobody saw each other as food. Nobody had something to say. There was no exclamation point at the end of their punches. No statement to be made in their footwork. No generalship to remind the other of why they shouldn't be fucking with me. None of that. Placidity. That's what I saw last evening. I saw no heat, no fervor, no urge or desire to reign. To reign. Did you guys see a desire to reign between those two men? There was not a moment in that fight where either of them felt that their destiny was hanging in the balance. There was no particular moment in that fight where it was an all or nothing type of moment for them and they had to climb through to get to the other side. Like they had something to prove to each other. Like they had to stake claim to kingship. Nothing. Am I mistaken? Or are fighters not fighting for supremacy within their field? Did you guys see a fight for supremacy last night? I don't think so. Speaking of the fight, I think that the first two rounds, Lamont was effective with his jab. He was able to shoot and touch up Tank a little bit, but you know, nothing much was going on, you guys, in the entire first half of the fight. Some little exchanges here and there. Of course, they were highly cautious. I anticipated, of course, especially considering Tank, that he would be, cautious, as we, expect him to be with his, they say he starts slow. So I was expecting him to kind of feel his way through, be calculated, size him up and all of that stuff, which is what happened. By the third round, we saw a little bit of an increase in activity. Tank began letting his hands go a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But, nothing spectacular. Barely any movement. Okay? At a particular point, I'm like, okay, well, how the fuck long are you going to take Data in? How are we in the 5th, 6th round and nothing is happening of significance? You know what I'm saying? There was a moment in the 4th round where Tank got distracted. Lamont popped him, and Tank turned his head saying something to the referee, and Roach, popped him again. What is going on here? I didn't see a sense of focus or a sense of tenacity from Tank Davis. He looked, aloof, or I don't know what was going on with him. And the shots that Lamont gave him at that particular moment where he popped him twice, back to back, it was almost as if to say, wake the fuck up and pay attention. I'm right in front of you. What are you looking at the ref for? So what is this unfocused Tank Davis that we are getting? 5th round, we see them talking to each other at a particular point. It's like, are y'all motherfucking having coffee with each other? Or are y'all, you know what I'm saying? What's at stake here? I just didn't feel anything at stake. I didn't feel any importance or severity or weight between the interaction between these men. Overall, from start to finish. You know what I'm saying? And I guess one could say competitive banter, which is what I initially thought, okay, competitive banter. But the competitiveness was not rising. There was no rise in the level of competition between them. They stayed on pretty much the same level throughout. At no particular point did that fight turn up. And I know a lot of people out here are going to try to fake the funk, crashing out, trying to protect and defend this man's performance. But those are the very people who are complaining about Shakur Stevenson. Those are the very people who would complain about Devin Haney's performance with Lomachenko. And how could you complain about something like that? And not have a shred of honesty about what we saw last night? Virtually no activity was happening. Bunch of sizing up and quick responses and spurts of moments here and there, but nobody was capitalizing on that lack of movement. Because they certainly both had it. Speaking of movement, there was a whole bunch of nonsensical movement coming around from Tank Davis, where he was on his motherfucking bike. Are we going to call him a runner and a track star? All the movement that man was doing for no reason. There was no onslaught coming at him for all the movement that he was doing. What was going on? What was he running from? I have a bunch of questions, you guys. A bunch of questions. And I think where Lamont Roach particularly was successful was how he was countering and timing Tank Davis. Tank Davis couldn't, it's like he would, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Very, very, very weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? Lamont Roach had a response to everything that Tank threw. Everything. And by the time round 7 came, I was like, these men are goddamn evenly matched. What's going to be the differentiation? Where's the differentiation? What is going to be the thing that kicks the rock over the hill? Because it was not being exemplified at that point, and it was already round 7. How the fuck is he evenly matched? energy, output, everything. They're barely a step above each other. Side by side in every way, neck and neck in every way. Tank Davis is supposed to be the #1 king of the division. One of the kings of the entire sport. And he got a 130 pounder that he, pulled up to fight him, his first fight at 35. And he's standing neck and neck with you. How is this possible? Roach was not fazed by Gervonta's power at all. At all. Seemed like nothing Tank can throw can faze him. You know what I'm saying? That man was just, walking like nothing happened. Nothing dropped him. Nothing wobbled him. What's going on here? But Lamont surely wobbled Tank. And I want to say the 9th round or something like that. Popped his head back quite a few times. Couldn't believe what I was watching. As I was watching it in real time this morning, because last evening I was tuning into Champside's live call of the bout, and I watched the fight in full this morning. Incredible to me. And I know it could be inconceivable to some people that Tank's power did not faze Lamont Roach, but that's exactly what the case was. Okay? And the same went for Tank, but as we know, Lamont Roach is not a big puncher. He's not a knockout artist. The man has 10 knockouts. So it was nothing for Tank to kind of eat his shots or whatever when he was getting, tagged by them for the most part. It's like they canceled each other out, in other words, to some degree. They never rose above their median output. There were no moments in that entire fight where the stakes were high to either man, where they said, listen, I got to eat or be eaten. This is it. I'm going for the kill. Not a single moment in that entire fight was that exemplified. No one crossed the line. Why? Why didn't somebody cross the line? Why didn't somebody take it further? Why was there so much respect? Nobody reached the threshold in that particular fight. It was weird. And it was also weird hearing the commentators. I'm not sure if you guys peeped that particular point of the fight, where the commentators were basically anticipating that the lack of punches from Tank Davis was perhaps because he was trying to prepare some setups or some traps for Lamont Roach. But there wasn't a goddamn setup in place from Tank Davis. No setup at all. Nothing of the sort was the case. He just wasn't throwing shit. He just wasn't setting up nothing. He had no crafty game plan in motion. What was the game plan of Tank Davis, you guys? His punch output was subpar. There was no mean streak, no bad intentions or venom on his punches. He fought like he was doing, an exercise, a sparring match or something. Where was the fighter that we deemed him to be all of this time? Where was that mean, nasty little bastard who will punch through you, literally, until the ref has to jump in and stop a fight? Where is he? I didn't see him. I didn't see that man. That's not who was in the ring last night. That's not who showed up. I don't know who the hell this person is. That's the person that want to get the aggression out of his body. That's the person who said, I don't want to be angry no more. That's who was in that ring. I didn't see any intention to destroy. I didn't see a shred of ambition to win. I didn't see a shred of determination to solidify his crown and his name and to put respect on his name. I saw none of that energy there. That man looked like he was trying to, did he look like he was trying to, achieve something of purpose last night? Did he look like he was a man of purpose last night? What do you guys think Tank's purpose was after watching that particular fight? You guys tell me. I'd love to hear it across the boxing world, actually, because that's a question that I pose to any quote unquote boxing enthusiast. What was Tank's purpose last night in his performance? What was his statement to be made? That he is the king of 135 or that he is simply passing the time? Because to me, he looked like he's been fighting in that particular fight, like he's been fighting exactly to match the statements that he's been saying for the past few months. Like he's trying to get the bag and go the fuck home. That's what that looked like to me. How is this man going to continue fighting 3 or more fights, the supposed 3 or 4 fights he says he has left, with such a bland, lifeless approach to the ring? And these people want to tell me about a rematch? Nothing about that fight was purposeful, you guys. It served nothing. It put nobody on notice. There was no call outs even after the fight. What is going on? One minute he's saying he wants the rematch. Next minute it's kind of up in the air, topsy-turvy. What is going on? Why is everything so vague with this man? Why is everything shrouded in, inconsistency? Lack of confirmation. I found it to be very, very strange. And if I wasn't enthralled about this fight happening, in the outset, you already know my feelings about a potential rematch in the future. When is the rematch going to take place? Is that something he's trying to do before the end of the year? And when we think about the aspect of a rematch, you guys, we have to understand that this fight was already a blockade, to the fight that we really want to see, which is him and Shakur Stevenson. And then, of course, then after that, Keyshawn and I guess Loma would be last on that particular list. But the real driving force that we want to see as far as a matchup at 135 is him and Shakur Stevenson. This was already a bypass of that fight, this particular fight with Lamont Roach. And now he is talking about rematching him. What if that fight is a draw? Or what if, let's say, it goes to either one of those men? That means I got to anticipate a trilogy of this bullshit? A trilogy of this? And this man is telling me that he got 3 fights left? Who the fuck is he going to fight if worth? I got to be put on standby for the next year and a half, 2 years, to anticipate a trilogy of this shit I didn't ask for to begin with? So I'm even that much more farther removed from the fight that I've been asking for? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The disrespect is beyond disrespect at this point. It's absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Let me check to see what my people are talking about. Salute to everybody in the building. I have to go up a little bit more to see what y'all been saying. Salute to everybody. Salute King Darius. I see you in the building. Thank you for coming. Salute to the King Raul. Nice to see you. The King DP. Nice to see you. We got Mr. Roll Tide in the building. Facts, you guys. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Salute to my sister Chiquila. I see you. Brown Unboxing says Lamont Roach and Tank got to run that back. Listen. The only thing they got to do is get out of my damn face. That's what they got to do for me. I give a damn about that rematch. King Darrow says, preach Leo twin. Tank just not that guy. He's not Hall of Fame material. The richest one said, Tank ain't even top 5 at 35. I mean, it's an interesting conversation to be had as far as he goes, you guys. And I don't think that we can bypass the reality that his exit at this particular point should be pushed for, regardless of if he's saying it or not. I think that we should be, I think that we should be very much on the front lines of saying, listen, bro, I mean, you're going to show up like this, don't show up at all, and keeping it real about that. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand the aspect of, fighters having, off nights. Trust me, it happens across the board, and to the best of them, I understand that. But We can't just simply say that he had an off night, and bypass all of the things that he's been saying even before this fight, came to pass last evening. We'd be absolutely remiss and mistaken, to think that this man went in there, gung-ho and with a purpose, as I've been saying. That's why I've been calling attention to what the purpose was in him last night. What do you think the purpose was in him last night? Because I saw no purpose. It was evident that he had none. The Tank Davis that I know previously, even though I wanted to see him, raise his level of competition, I saw a purpose. At least at that particular time. We could even go back to the Ryan Garcia fight. You know what I'm saying? I saw, okay, well, this guy is potentially dangerous. Let me solidify my place and show that I'm levels above him. Let me at least dominate and show my presence, that it resonates with you that I am better than you. I saw that. I didn't see any of that last night. There was no will, in other words. That cannot be the case for somebody trying to call themselves the face of boxing, or who has once deemed themselves the face of boxing, or at least even if he's not talking that rhetoric anymore about being the face of boxing, because of course we know now he says he wants to disappear from boxing. But let's just say, even if he doesn't use that particular rhetoric, he is still expecting you to pay $80 to watch him fight. He's expecting you to fill seats at whatever, event space that he goes to fight in. He's expecting the fans to show up, but not only is his rhetoric saying he don't want to be there, his performance is telling you that he doesn't want to be there. How are you sacrificing the very thing, which is your performance, that the fans, give you all of this accreditation for? Now your performance is being sacrificed? That's how people know and relate to Tank Davis, is via his performance. If he's showing up like that, the fuck are we here for? Because people defend Tank Davis through his performance. They don't care about his antics. They don't care what he says. They don't care his inconsistencies. They don't care the crazy moves that he's made. They don't care the evasion that he's done of whoever you want to name. They don't care about that. They justify all of that via his performance. So now if his performance level and output is being sacrificed, what is there left to defend? What is there left to uphold as a person who considers themselves a Tank supporter? The performance is all we as boxing fans have. So if you sacrificing that, you sacrificing us, essentially. Interesting stuff. Salute to the King, Stormy. I see you, King. He says, I didn't see the notification. I cut my hair earlier and grease got in my eye. I took a knee before writing this. Salute to the chat. Listen, you guys, the disgrace and the folly across the board is just, absolutely unacceptable. And let's get into it now that I saw that the King mentioned that. Let's touch in that, on that topic a little bit. Oh, I got some super chats. Salute to everybody. Salute to the King Pizzo in the building. Salute to everyone. L and Pizzo definitely set the night off right, set the evening off right with a $10 super chat. Thank you for my first super chat of the night, King Pizzo. I really do appreciate you, King. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And salute to the King, J Pitch City. He says, salute Mars in the chat. Blessings to you, King. I appreciate all the support that I get for the channel. I'm here. Thank you for standing 10 toes with your girl. Thank you to the King Uncommon with a super chat. I really do appreciate you, King. You already know it's love. He says, Tank and Antoine are coons. Are coon Ryan defenders. So I didn't watch their card. But it sounds like the world saw why Tank been avoiding elite boxers for so long. 1000%. And that's up for discussion. That's up on the chopping block. You know what I'm saying? And I think what was most, formidable, or what could be conceived of as to be the most formidable thing of Lamont Roach, was that we saw a fighter that was not dashing. Lamont Roach was walking Tank Davis down, you guys. Did y'all see that? Lamont was walking Tank down. Okay? He was cutting Tank off. And this is throughout the fight's entirety. Throughout the fight's entirety. Not at a particular moment. This was consistently being done. And we saw Tank on a bike for many of those particular rounds. And not only on a bike, but not responding. A non-responsive runner. What the hell version of Tank Davis is this? Does he have a goddamn injury? I don't think so. What's going on here? What's the reason for this? You know what I'm saying? And if Lamont Roach was standing 10 toes, which he was, at no particular point did he show any type of fear in that man. He was eating all of his shots, as aforementioned. You know what I'm saying? He was willing to exchange. He had wonderful counters for Tank Davis at many moments in that fight. Stood his ground completely. There was no particular moment where Lamont Roach was in flight. Was this the reason that Tank Davis did not have a viable response? Is this why he couldn't assert his own dominance? Because for the first time, at least that we could account for, and however long at least, he had an opponent that was not backing down for the first time, period, in his professional career. He had somebody who was not afraid of him. I mean, we're talking about Tank Davis, one of the fighters who has the highest, one of the highest knockout ratios in all of the sport. A punching god is what a lot of people deem him to be. And Lamont Roach was unfazed, virtually unfazed by what Tank Davis was throwing. Did this kick him off of his high horse? And if so, what the hell can Tank Davis do? As the beautiful King Uncommon alluded to earlier in his statement, what can he do then with people who we consider superior boxers to Lamont? Because let's keep it real. Nobody was going into this fight considering Lamont to be superior to anything called a Tank Davis, or even can stand in the same sentence with anybody at 135, like Shakur Stevenson. So if Lamont Roach can stand in there and stand his ground with that type of presence, not backing down presence and assertion, what the hell can he do with somebody that not only refuses to back down, but somebody who has 10 times the skill of Lamont Roach? Do y'all hear me or not? What can we anticipate then from that particular type of fighter? A fighter with the stature of Shakur Stevenson. Hell, even goddamn Lomachenko, even though he's pushing 40. With all of that experience. What can we anticipate then from that particular type of fighter with that stature? Lamont Roach has never been deemed, prior to his announcement, as the opponent to Tank Davis, nobody considered him to be anything on pound for pound level. Yet he's standing with the pound for pound motherfucking king of the 135 division, you guys. We got to really wrap our heads around this and be honest. But what Lamont brought differently was an energy that said, I will not back down. And I don't give a damn what you throw. I'm eating them. And you're going to take some of mine too. What does that say? Was that the differentiating factor? I think it had a lot to do with it. A significant amount to do with it. Was Tank just unable to deal with the mental reality that he had someone in front of him that was not going to, take flight, take cover, that was not going to retreat, somebody who was not interested in his punch knockout ratio or whatever have you, somebody who was not interested in the fanfare or the lights for that matter. Interesting conversation. Salute to Sam Seals in the super chat. I appreciate you, King. Thank you so much. He says, damn, Sugar Free. He had Dax in his eye. I thought he had Murray's. Tank whole persona is Snoop from The Wire. Female stud. Damn. I mean, it's up for debate, King. It is up for debate. And I think a lot of the persona is crumbling. And I think it's a necessary occurrence to happen, because I don't think that anybody should be so much on a high horse, that they are able to evade challenge and reality. And I think a lot of that has happened as far as the fanfare surrounding Tank Davis. I can't really speak to him and say that he, totally, assumed that position. But of course, he's got a legion of people who push that particular folly out, who believe that about him, and who he definitely coddles the mindset of Tank Davis. He coddles the mindset of those people who uphold that rhetoric about him in the boxing world, about him being untouchable. And that's why we see him say things like, oh, I'll never fight Shakur Stevenson. What would I fight him for? What does he value? What does he do? He's not even skillful. Yet a motherfucker nobody ever heard of 3 months ago is on an even playing field with you. A pound for pound king. He's on an even playing field with you. See, that's what you get for talking crazy. I would have rather the draw with goddamn Shakur Stevenson than goddamn Lamont Roach. Like I always say, salute to him. But I would have rather have seen a draw with somebody like Shakur or Devin when Devin was at 135. Not somebody that we haven't been asking for. Not somebody that's not even in your damn division. So all that ducking and evade you got you out here looking chump. Because somebody who was virtually a nobody 6 months ago showed that he's on par with Tank Davis, the supposed and alleged killing monster. He's on par with you, literally, even keel. It's wild out here, y'all. Let me see my comments. King of Condo, salute to you. He says Tank was running. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And I hear no outcry about his lack of output. Earlier today, I joined the King Champ side on his panel. And in his live, he pulled up, the punch stats of the night between Roach and Tank. And, subpar output is not even the word. There was a particular point where I think, Tank threw a single jab. And I don't believe that jab even landed in a particular round. One goddamn jab in a 3-minute round? What is going on? What's going on? And pretty much throughout the fight, there was a, even level between them as far as their lack of output. One didn't supersede the other. One's output didn't supersede the others. So when we talk about lackluster, here it is. Despite their moments of exchanging here and there, despite Lamont Roach's good countering, at particular moments in the fight, it was still subpar, lackluster output. We got to hold him accountable for that, because if it were anybody goddamn else, and y'all already know what time I'm on, the whole boxing world would have been on fire. Oh, this person is boring. Oh, they were running. Nobody got nothing to say about what we was watching? Nobody going to point out how Tank was running on these particular platforms? How he was standing there with his goddamn high guard up and looking and peekabooing and not throwing anything? People got to keep it real and hold this man accountable, hold this man to the stake. Because so long as he's in boxing, he's going to be held accountable, especially to the degree of elite stature that we assume him to be and that he's assumed himself to be. Wasn't he the first person talking shit about Shakur Stevenson and how boring he was? Goddamn, look at what the hell happened now. The most boring performance of his entire career. A boring spectacle. Oh, nobody want to see Shakur in that boring stuff? Yeah, people are tired of him. He's boring. Oh, really? Ain't it crazy how things turn? Salute to the King 78, my big brother in the super chat. Thank you so much for the 5-piece. He says, salute Sugarfreemars in the chat. Thank you so much, King, for joining us. You know, I appreciate you, King. I'm honored to have you in the building with us tonight. Thank you. Absolutely insane, you guys. Unacceptable and insane. We have to be honest. We have to be honest. Devin Haney had a spectacular performance with Lomachenko. Boxing that, circles around that man. Inside game, not running, not evading, standing in a pocket with Lomachenko. Somebody who is considered to be a Hall of Famer, giving it to that man. And they try to just discredit Dev as if he wasn't in there working. Active from damn start to finish, dominant from start to finish. Was it a competitive fight? Yes. That's what it should be when you're in there with somebody who's considered a Hall of Famer. It should have been competitive. But Devin showed why he's elite. Devin showed why he is that dude. And he dominated him anyway. And y'all talk shit about that young brother. But y'all motherfucking quiet about the inactivity of Tank Davis against a damn 130-pounder? Where his hands go? Not only a 130-pounder, but a 130-pounder who was eating his shots like that shit was breakfast? Miss me with the nonsense. That's why I gotta be watchful of all that nonsense y'all be talking. Y'all be too busy hating on people instead of looking at the reality and loving boxing for what it is. Y'all think this shit is a soap opera. And then when shit like this come up and y'all turning around looking stupid, y'all ain't got shit to say. Y'all not barking all that big talk y'all was barking before. We're those people who was big stepping when it came to castigate Shakur Stevenson. Where's all the big stepping y'all had when y'all saw, Devin Haney face a challenge? Whether he was victorious, whether he got through it easily, or whether he got through it, with a struggle. Whatever the case was. Y'all was on the sidelines bopping your gums like some damn bitches. Y'all don't have nothing to say about your mans? Where's his accountability check? They got so much to say about the young King Devin, and he's the only one out here stepping trying to fight the best. Meanwhile, you going to bat for somebody who don't want to fight no goddamn competition and gave your asses a lackluster goddamn performance with somebody you didn't motherfucking ask for. You ain't asked for no damn Lamont Roach, and here go Lamont Roach standing on business with a pound-for-pound king. What does that make Lamont Roach? Is he a pound-for-pound king now? Because all that punching power didn't faze him. It didn't affect him. Keep it real. We got to have these types of dialogues, you guys. And that's why boxing cannot, just be simply, thought of or approached to as if it's a soap opera. It's not. You guys get so caught up in the box in the gossip game that you forget about the boxing. We want to see the best fight the best. Tank's evasion of fighting the best in his division led him to the situation that he found himself upon last evening. Because it would have been nothing for him to have had a draw with Shakur Stevenson. It would have been nothing for him to have fought Devin Haney back in the past and came upon something like a draw. That would have been understandable. There is no reasonable explanation why this man should be let off the hook for having a motherfucking draw with a goddamn 130-pounder. Nothing these people can say can explicate that to me or explain away the situation. That shit was a disservice to boxing, you guys. Absolutely a disservice. You know, Lamont came in there to do what he needed to do. You know what I'm saying? The man said that he wasn't going to lose. The man was demanding a rematch, even in the outset of the press conferences. He was already talking about the rematch, like, oh, you're not going nowhere, bro. We're going to fight again. He was absolutely dead set and adamant on that. That man knew that a rematch was going to be happening. And according to last night's decision, that's exactly what's going to be happening. He said, you're not bypassing me. You're going to fight me again. We're going to fight again. That's what's going to happen next. That's what he told Tank. And like I said earlier, you know, the rematch, the fight is purposeless. The rematch is purposeless, but it serves the purpose of keeping Tank away from getting in the ring with his real competition in his division. It's just taking time away from that. And that's something that I'm not with. That was my whole issue with this fight to begin with. That was the whole issue of all of us up in here who have been following this damn train wreck since it was announced. It's like, well, why is he fighting him? He got the champs all around him. Why is he fighting this dude? Who is this nigga? On some Smack shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Smack, who is this nigga? What is going on here? Why are you even fighting him? And now you're telling me I got to anticipate a damn rematch or a possible trilogy? This is who the A side of 135 chose to fight? And not only did he fight him, but he damn near got, outperformed by him. To call Lamont Roach an underdog is an understatement. Nobody believed in that man because nobody gave a fuck about him. Nobody was checking for him. And this is the man who not only, stood toe to toe with you, but arguably put your ass on your knees. Made you take a bended goddamn knee. Like you was proposing to your wife in that damn ring. That's what the evasion got him. Looking like an absolute fool. You didn't want to take a knee like a warrior. You didn't want to take a risk or a possible loss like a warrior. So you took a risk and a draw like a fool. Because it would have been better at the hands of somebody worthy. In your division, I mean to say. Somebody on your level, on your par, in your division. That would have been a worthy draw or a loss or a knee or whatever have you. By the hands of somebody worthy. You took it to Lamont Roach. That's what you get. You guys, it's absolutely crazy, you guys. You know, speaking of worthy, the fight card with, the fight with Gary Russell Jr. was the fight of the night. That was the fight of the night. In fact, it was what the main event should have been. Okay? I watched the fight after I watched Tank's fight this morning. Of course, I went back to watch Gary. I've been a big fan of the Russells for a long time. So of course I had to, watch what the young king, Antoine Russell, did. Absolutely fantastic job, you guys. Did you see that dominant performance by Antoine Russell? Main event worthy. Here is what I wanted to see. This was passion, you guys. This was passion. This was purpose. This is what fighting with purpose looked like. When I was questioning Tank earlier and the purpose of that fight, okay? I didn't have to ask that question watching back the Gary Antoine Russell fight. I didn't have to ask what the purpose was or what his objective was. His objective was to eat his food. From the first bell, I knew that goddamn objective. That man didn't come there to play no goddamn games. And same went for Rayo, real talk, even though he did not win. Rayo was trying to put something down. He was trying to stake his claim too. Those men were in there to prove to each other why they felt they deserved championship. That was purpose. I'm a champion. Here's why. I'm a champion. You're going to have to go through me. That's what I saw between those two men, Rayo and Antoine Russell. They were not talking to each other casually in the middle of a fight. No, they were talking to each other with dominance, with energy, with warriorship. That's how they was talking to each other. The language between Antoine and Rayo was through warfare. That's how they was talking. You got to take it and you got to earn it in real time. That's what they were saying to each other via their fists, via their output with each other. They spoke via mental pressure. They spoke via heart, having to think and outwork and outmaneuver the other. That's how that's what their language entailed. They were not bantering or looking over at the ref or saying a few little slick things there and running and dodging and getting on a goddamn bike. Hails to the nah. That was not in the building between those two men, Gary and Rayo. They stood up to the call, and Antoine superseded that call. The man fought as one should when you are serious about what you are doing. He put all types of pressure on that man, Rayo. Absolutely beautiful performance. He fought as if his name was on the line, because it was. And he made sure that he earned the respect on that name of the Russells. You feel me? That's how it's supposed to be done. Tank Davis lost that aspect of himself, apparently, in what we saw last night. For a man who's been fighting his whole life since he was 7 years old, he sure as hell lost the goddamn purpose and basics of warriorship. He in there looking at the damn crowd and smiling and goddamn kiki-kiing. What is going on here? Was Tank Davis fighting like his name was on the line? Or was he fighting as if he was comfortable knowing that either way, the hat would be tipped in his direction? Is that what we witnessed last night? Because the ease of Tank Davis was quite disrespectful, if you ask me. Taking a knee, not having the knee counted, you sauntering your way over there to go stick your head in between the ropes, and then you go to the other side, and then Calvin is dabbing your face down like you goddamn Prince of James Brown on stage, and then you go saunter your way back to the middle of the goddamn ring. Nothing done to reprimand that behavior. Of course he's not going to fight like he got something to claim, like he got his name on the line. Look what this motherfucker can get away with in the middle of a fight. In the middle of a fight. Seems to me like he know he can have his damn way. That's what he was fighting like. Like he can have his way either way. Absolutely crazy. With those types of conditions, of course you're not going to be liable to fight like your name is on the line. He looked like he got the favor of the gods. Like, oh, okay, well, I could just go ahead and go, do this stuff. Let me go saunter. He should have went and got a drink of goddamn lemonade, went to the concession stand and got a hot dog and sat and, high five with the crowd. If that's the goddamn case, he might as well have done that. with that type of leisure. An absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace, you guys. Unbelievable to witness and to watch. By the end of that fight, you know, did you guys hear when Tank fans booed him? You guys. And that boo came by way of course, the nonsensical, farcical excuse as to why he took the knee, which was accordingly due to some goddamn Dax hair grease or some pink lotion moisturizer or some goddamn Carol's daughter or some goddamn Soul Glow that done rushed and trickled down his eye ever so slowly and got into the, you know, the corner of his eye, which then proceeded, you know, to burn and sting his eye. And therefore, you know what I'm saying, he had to damn dip low on one knee and go rushing to the corner so that they could dab ever so gently the hair grease that had fallen so slightly into his eyes, you guys. What the fuck kind of puss ass excuse is that? Like, I just, you know, what? I couldn't even write that in a book, in a make-believe, in a short story, you guys. I wouldn't even be able to conjure that up to write it in a fictional tale. The damn Murray's hair cream got into this man's eye. Okay? The Dax, the blue magic, okay, got into his eye. The cream of nature got into his eye. And he had to take a knee because of some goddamn hair grease. First of all, you got your hair 2 days done 2 days ago, according to him. What hair grease is that goddamn, you know, dripping? Where 2 days in your head, it stayed with no problem. But now you entering into the ring and now the Soul Glow is deciding to drip like the molasses from a goddamn tree into your eye during battle? Sir, how long have you had braids, sir? This is a very peculiar phenomena, mister. Here go Red Light Special Davis at it a goddamn again. Oh, the grease done got into my eye, you guys. It was the hair grease. Because, you know, I had just got my hair did 2 days ago. And so it just burned my eye. And oh my goodness, I could not have that, you guys. I had to have them dab my eyebrow a little bit. What kind of soft ass shit is that? Was this not the man who fought with a broken hand against goddamn Pitbull Cruz and had to fight 12 rounds through a broken hand? You ain't take no fucking knee then, but you gotta take a knee because some goddamn hair grease slid down your eye? The goddamn Soul Glow done ran down into your eye and made you take a knee that you've never taken in your professional boxing career. So Ryan couldn't make you take a knee. Whoever, Hector Garcia couldn't make you take a knee. You know what I'm saying? All of these people that you fought, Frank Martin couldn't make you take a knee. All of these 30 or however many people you fought couldn't make you take a knee. But the motherfucking Soul Glow made you take a knee? God damn it. Soul Glow is undefeated out here, you guys. Soul Glow is the pound for pound motherfucking king at one goddamn 35. Let's crown Soul Glow. Get Soul Glow in the motherfucking ring. I want to see what Soul Glow is going to do. Because he's more goddamn entertaining than you. He's more of a savage than Tank Davis. The hair grease. The hair grease is more of a goddamn killer than Tank Davis. Ain't that about a bitch, y'all? What the hell? What? Made Tank Davis take a knee. Something that no man could do. God damn it. It's insanity, you guys, that type of excuse. And this is the type of disrespectful stuff that I'm talking about. And then he goes, catch a hissy fit, panties in a bunch. Oh, you think I'm lying, don't you? Why y'all booing me like I'm lying? They booing you because they don't buy it. They don't buy it. You took a knee. Everybody saw you take a goddamn knee. You went down and it wasn't counted. And not only did you, it's not like you took a knee, or bent low really quickly and got up to fight or whatever. No, you sauntered your ass over like you're taking a jog in the summer field over to the corner, stuck your head through the ropes, then wasted another 3 seconds going to the other side to then get your face wiped off or whatever the case is. It's disrespectful. Yes, your ass got booed. People don't want to hear that. They're like, what type of nonsense is this? You're supposed to be the warrior, and a little bit of goddamn oil or sweat, whatever you're claiming to have gotten in your eye, is what made you take the knee. Stop the goddamn cap. Stop the cap. It's disrespectful, y'all. Absolutely disrespectful. Absolutely disrespectful, bro. You should have just kept that shit to yourself, or just decided not to motherfucking cap on national, television. Just kept it moving. It's nonsense, you guys. Let me check with my people, see what y'all talking about. I missed a lot. I'm scrolling, you guys. Excuse me. Salute to the great Mike. Nice to see you. I see you in the building. Salute to the King Snoopy. I see you, King. Thank you for coming. Salute to the King Muarib. Nice to see you, Dragon Fang. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Domo salute to you. Says, talk to him, Sugar Free. Ain't that the truth, you guys? It's just, I find myself to be very, very, I'm very over this young gentleman. Salute Xavier, I see you in the building. I'm very over the antics of this young man. The level of immaturity is just, running rampant with him. Running absolutely rampant, and I just find it to be a disgrace. I think that he should just get out the way. And that's really the point that I have been reaching for, the past few months. And it's a point that, I haven't reclined from yet because it's just apparent that, he has no real serious objective in the sport. You cannot have, that type of approach to the sport and want to be taken seriously by me as a fight fan. I just don't get down like that. You got to have a serious objective for the sport. You have to. You have to have a sense of purpose. You have to have a sense of wherewithal and aim. Those people were not there, to watch you, saunter around carelessly as if their dollars didn't matter, as if their presence in that building to support you didn't matter. This man is way too careless. He's way too careless, and he's entitled, as if we have to show up or that we will inevitably show up no matter what he does. I refuse to take that stance with this man. That's why I did not purchase the fight. He's way too careless. With the support that he gets, he feels like it's owed to him. And this is why we see the antics middle of the ring as we have with that particular move of the taking the knee and going around to carelessly go wipe his eye as if a fight is not on and a popping. He's way too careless. And these people refuse to hold him accountable for that. So I don't know what's in the trajectory for this man moving forward. I really don't. Whether he fights Lamont Roach or not, I'm talking about as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does not seem like he is going to elevate his mentality and mature as a fighter and all of a sudden get the inclination to do right by the sport, do right by his boxing fans before he does leave. Nothing wrong with you wanting to leave. As I said numerous times, I don't have a problem with this man wanting to retire. That's his goddamn prerogative and his business. But while you are here, you got to serve you have to have a purpose to serve. You have to serve your fans as your fans serve you. Tank Davis is just way too aloof, you guys. He's way too aloof. He's detached, and it's showing up now, not only his rhetoric, but in his output, in his performance. When have we ever seen this man perform like this, you guys? He's more interested in Twitter and gossiping than he is fighting. I mean, just think about it. He had more energy about why he shouldn't fight Shakur Stevenson than he did in the ring against Lamont last night. He had more aggression about why he shouldn't fight Shakur Stevenson or Keyshawn Davis, or he had more, huff in his puff when talking about Devin than he did against the opponent last night. He had more output there than in the ring. He had more output for Turkey Ella Sheik and talking shit about Turkey and what's going on over there in Riyadh, cards and stuff like that than he did for Lamont Roach. I mean, what's really going on here? What's really going on here? He had more severity and output for that and talking shit about that. That's what got him riled up. Not Lamont Roach. Not maintaining his 135 championship status. Not assuming the posture of somebody who calls themselves the king of 135 or who people largely consider to be the king of 135. He was not adamant about claiming that type of supremacy and dominance in that performance and showing the boxing world why he's the tank. No. He had more heat talking shit about the other champions. It's absolutely ridiculous, you guys. Either way you want to chop it up, it's ridiculous to me. The King Darrow says, Tank is just a highlight reel. He's basically a great dunker who can shoot or dribble. He's basically a dunker who can't shoot or dribble. Well, the King on Comment says, we're all the Taker maniacs who always crying about Devin getting booed in Vegas. Thank you. Because the face of boxing got booed for making excuses last night. Facts, big facts. And he in New York. And you know what I'm saying? We don't hold bones for nobody over here. So yeah, he got booed. And he in Brooklyn of all goddamn places. What? Know what type of time we on. No, you're going to get that work. You're going to be held accountable. If you're not going to be held accountable anywhere else, we're going to give you that business over here. Absolutely silly excuse. Did you hear him in the press say, I didn't even know what round I was in. You know what I'm saying? I could have did better. I could have got him out of there. I think in the rematch, I would get him out of there. Why the fuck you ain't do it tonight? Don't tell me it's because you didn't know how the rounds were proceeding. You didn't know what round it was. What the hell kind of excuse was that? You didn't put your foot on the gas because you didn't know what round you was in? From round one, from that first bell, you should have been pressuring that man. You should have been showing the levels between you and him. Everything was discombobulated. The excuses, the framing, everything. Everything was illogical. Everything was unfocused. Everything lacked purpose. Even his goddamn excuses. Crazy work. Lovely King Darrow says, now we know why he didn't want to do business with Turkey. Yeah, because Turkey gonna put him in the center of that ring with all types of challenges he don't want no parts of. And speaking of Turkey, did y'all see the nonsense that he was saying about Turkey over the past week? Talking about, Turkey got them out there getting sick. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was two fighters, yes, it was unexpected. Yes, it raised some questions like, damn, we didn't expect, Schofield to be pulled and to be sick, and then Dubois got sick. But he's making it seem like everybody going over there suffering. Like everybody that going over there suffering. And he also posited some crazy wild shit. Talk about Turkey got them out there looking like they sold their souls to the devil. Oh my God, you guys. Did y'all see that? Oh, even the picture that they took. Oh, it looked like they done sold they soul. Looked like some devil shit. Did y'all see that? This is the stuff that he puts his energy toward. I wish he would have put a fraction of that energy that he put into making that ridiculous claim into actually beating Lamont Roach the fuck up the way he should have. Put that energy there. Because Lord knows he didn't really have to do much, to actually, raise the level of pressure that was happening in there. Neither of them. If they would just put that much more pressure in there, it would have been a goddamn draw. You'd have had an actual winner that was named. But those moments where they're standing there not exchanging, it's like, what the hell? Why is nobody turning up the fire on this particular moment right now? Because there's plenty of opportunity to. It's not like there was an onslaught that they had to prepare for or evade or something like that, be mindful of. There was plenty of space and opportunity to have your own onslaught and aggression and pressure applied. And the opportunity just simply was not taken. It just wasn't taken. They just completely let the food go to waste with each other on both men's part. Absolutely weird. Weird spectacle, you guys. Salute to the King Darius in the super chat. I appreciate you so much, beloved Darius. Thank you. He says, just imagine Sugar Ray Robinson saying he got conk in his eyes. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And we know Sugar Ray had the ill Jerry curl at a particular point, and so did goddamn Haggler. When did one of them complain about their soul glow running down their goddamn eye? And they shit was flowing free too. Their Jerry curls was loose and a bouncing. None of them complain about their damn soul glow in their eye. What the hell is the problem with Tank Davis? Miss me with the damn nonsense. Diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. I can't even wrap my mind around that type of excuse. And I can't wrap my mind around that referee allowing that nonsense to happen mid-fight. And it looked like he was going to begin counting it, but then he stopped counting because he was going to, deem it a knockdown. And it looked like as he was gesturing to count it, when Tank got up and started, proceeding to walk over to those ropes, that's when he kind of was just looking confused, like, okay, what the fuck happened? But I wish he would have took his, some control and say, hey, get over here. Let me check you out because I got to count you. If that was a knockdown, I got to make sure you're okay. He took no control of the situation. Maybe one eye was looking, because that man got crazy eyes. Maybe one eye saw one thing and the other eye saw another goddamn thing. I don't know what the fuck was up with that damn ref. He took no control of that particular moment. Absolutely insane. And did y'all see Crawford call that out on Twitter? Crawford was like, what the hell? I guess this stuff is legal now. I guess this is what happens in boxing. Nobody counts these things anymore. All types of illegal actions can happen. What kind of nonsense is going on here? Let me pull up the tweet for you guys. Hold on. Crawford was not having it. He was like, excuse me, what type of nonsense is this now? Crawford said, oh, hold on, let me turn up my screen. Crawford said, I never seen someone take a knee and they don't count it as a knockdown. Must have forgot the rules for tonight. That's what Crawford said about that whole nonsense of him taking the knee and it not being ruled anything and not being penalized and not being reprimanded. Nothing counted. Nothing. He wasn't about it. And then Terrence goes on to write on his Twitter, some of y'all need to watch Mayweather versus Hernandez and see Mayweather take a knee because he hurt his hand and it was called a knockdown and not from a punch either. So he brought that example of where Mayweather took a knee because his hand was affected, okay, against Hernandez, and they ruled that a knockdown. But this particular instance was not. Make it make sense, y'all. A broken hand, possibly is was ruled a knockdown. Oh, but a soul glow, no, we could leave the soul glow. No, we're gonna bypass the soul glow. What's going on? Oh, that was just a little bit of Dax. Oh, okay. We could let that slide. It's just some Dax hair grease, y'all. The fuck? Diabolical, you guys. What did you guys think about the fight overall? You guys know my perspective. I already told y'all that, it was lackluster. There was hardly any punch output. It was definitely subpar performance from what we know of Tank Davis by far. What does that mean to say? I could only hear some people now, throughout the week going to try to make justifications for this. Oh, no, that's his fight style. That's the style he chose to fight in. It's a style. So now it's a style to not throw your motherfucking hands. Underwhelming punch output is now going to be deemed a style, right? Because Tank Davis looks subpar. Now we're just going to call it a style because it was a part of his game plan to not throw. I can only imagine what we're going to be hearing throughout the week, you guys, from these sassy crusaders. Sassy crusaders trying to make all types of random, crazy, false justifications. You guys, I'd like to know from y'all what you honestly think about Tank Davis's trajectory. Do you guys think that he will rematch Lamont Roach? Is that something that you will be interested in seeing? Is my first question. Are you guys interested in seeing the Lamont Roach fight? Is that something, two-part question, or is that something, you want to see? I want to figure out how to pin comments on the screen. I don't know how to do that though. Let me do a test. Sometimes I want to pin comments on the screen where you guys can see it, but I'm still very new at this, so forgive me. Pin, is that it? Oh, so that gets pinned at the top of my chat, but I don't know how to make it appear across the screen yet. I'm still very much a baby at this, you guys. I've only been going live for about a month and a half. So I'm still figuring a lot of things out. But yeah, I'd love to know you guys' thoughts about that. Are you guys interested in a rematch with Lamont Roach? I'd love to know. Another question that I have while you guys are responding is, do you think that Tank should retire ASAP? Do you think that he should go through his 3 or 4 fights or whatever he said he had left? Or do you think he should just call it quits after the performance that you've seen last night? The King Darryl says, I can't wait to hear what these Tankomaniacs come up with in the week. Exactly. King Vonnie, salute to you, King. Nice to see you. He says, I think Tank will look regular against real competition and should stay in his lane. Yeah, at this point, I agree with you, King Vonnie, 100%. Bo Rice, salute to you in the building. He says, just for me. Woo! Exactly. That motherfucker had the pink oil moisturizer lotion in his eye. Get out of my damn face. Get out of my face. The oil sheen. Get your ass out of here. I'm glad, my Brooklyn people chewed his ass out. The King Darrow says, not interested in a rematch, but I guess he has to do it to clear the air, quote unquote. Yeah, I guess so. Clear the air. King Steven says, Tank doesn't want to do the rematch. He said, not this year. Yeah, and I thought I heard that. Because he kind of, the mic was kind of a little bit low. But yeah, okay, so he did say not this year. What the fuck is he trying to do? So he's trying to stall. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. Who the hell is this year then? Well, actually, he probably won't fight again because, Tank Davis only fights once a year. You know what I'm saying? According to the past, year and a half or two. Since he fought Ryan, he's only been fighting once a year. So this is probably the only fight he's doing this year. Then he's going to haul ass, tuck his tail, go hiding somewhere, try to pop out again next year, and then bring you, ooh, child, hell no. Miss me with it. Just go home and stay home. Lock the door, lock the windows, hide your kids, hide your wife. Don't come out, don't come back. Just go, bruh. Just go. The great Mike said, it's hard to say because Lamont deserves a rematch, but there are so many guys at 135 that we want to see fight, which is why Tank is so frustrating. Exactly. But in that case, when I think about the aspect of Lamont deserving a rematch, I can't even, is he deserving? Because it's not like his performance was 10 out of 10. I think we're just looking at two lackluster outputs and, we're holding them to a standard, that would be comparable to a high level output. A high level output that resulted in a draw is one thing. A lackluster output that resulted in a draw is a completely different thing. So I can't even say that Lamont deserves a rematch at this particular point, Great Mike. That's my opinion. I understand where you're coming from, and to a large degree, I agree with you. But then there's this other aspect of me that is saying, was that deserving of any goddamn thing? When we rate performances, like if Rayo and Antoine Russell had an equal amount of exchange on par to what Antoine was giving, let's say they were both giving at that high capacity level, that would demand for me, a rematch. You know what I'm saying? I did not see that type of level of performance at all. It was not anywhere near the level of performance that we got from Gary Antoine, let alone if Rayo matched him on that type of equal standing and equal energy output. I can't say that that's deserving, At this particular point, I can't fully say that Lamont Roach is deserving of a rematch. Interesting dynamic at hand, though, you guys. The King Steven says, let me go up a little bit. He says, yes, retire and save us from your childish antics. Yeah. Very childish, very immature. King Steven also says, I heard Tank was going to call out Jake Paul, by the way. Are you, I'm not even surprised because they had a little tit for tat before. You know what I'm saying? Where they was ranking and riding on each other. At this point, I think, maybe that's what Tank Davis should be thinking about doing. Doing something like Jake Paul or, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't know if serious boxing is in his plans. That's what's in question for me right now. Salute, King Bean Pro. I see you. Salute to you. The King Darius says, laughing my ass off. Tank had that goop hair. It is. In his eyes from the Wayans Brothers show. Not the goop hair it is. Facts. Facts. Oh my God. The King Daryl says he thinks he's Canelo. He thinks he can hold off rematches. It's a disgrace, Daryl. Absolute disgrace. The King Dragon says, but he'll be on social media talking trash about Dev. Won't he? Which was my point earlier. All the nerve and the gusto, to talk about Devin, to screw his face up at Devin, to screw his mouth up at Shakur, to wave his hand at Keyshawn. All the fervor goes there, but had no fervor from Lamont Roach. Didn't phase Lamont Roach not once with any of his output. But you up here talking about who needs to show and prove to you that they are worthy and valuable of getting in the ring with you. Nigga, you motherfucking show and prove with that lame ass goddamn performance. Who are you worthy to fight now? You got to prove yourself now. King Steven says, Roach could have done more for sure. Yes, they both could. They both were took their foot off the gas. That's what was crazy to me. And I know I heard some people when I was on Champside's panel earlier today. There were a few brothers who felt that the fight was rigged because it was so passive, because the output was, so dismal. And, I understand why. Because that's definitely not the type of fighter that we know Tank Davis to be. When does he not go for the kill? The only time we saw him not do that was when his hand was affected against Pitbull. That's really the time that we could really, really account for. Any other time, that man, he's rushing to finish his plate. And he takes the opportunity to do that when one presents itself. You can't tell me that Lamont Roach didn't present the opportunity for Tank Davis to go ahead and go get that kill and to start chopping trees. He didn't take him. And for all the areas where Tank was available and open, Lamont didn't take them. Now, I don't know if it's because he didn't know how or whatever the case is on Lamont's end, but I know certainly Tank Davis know how to get that. He know how to go get that when it's presented to him. He just decided not to, which was the sucker shit. That's why he's looking sus. That's why people are like, was this fight rigged? That's why all of those types of questions are coming up now. Not that I agree that it was, but I understand why those particular questions were posed by those brothers earlier today when I was on King Champ's panel. Absolutely insane. And one can't help but wonder what he would do in a high level fight with the likes of somebody like Shakur Stevenson, because Shakur Stevenson is his immediate competition. He's the one for Tank Davis at 135 right now. What can he do with somebody like Shakur Stevenson? I think that begs the question, even more so now after seeing that type of performance, because, it could be a definitive performance. It could be something that could be a definitive stamp and marker on the fight between Shakur and Tank Davis. Because if he approaches a fight anything near what we saw last night, he's in for a long night against Shakur. And Shakur's reaction to that was interesting. First of all, I was happy to see and pleased to see that Shakur Stevenson, first of all, showed up to the fight, because at a particular point last week, I was wondering if he would, because they basically fought a week apart from each other. And as we know, Shakur called out Tank Davis after his victory last week. And I was wondering, like, is Shakur going to pull up on Tank Davis? And it was lovely to see that he did, just as a follow-up pursuit to his call out. He made the official call out. He had been calling him out, and he was serious, and he was standing on business, saying that he wants Tank's next. He wants Tank's head next. So it was good to see him in the arena. And after the fight, he basically, said that, listen, this is what I've been telling y'all the whole time. I told y'all I'm the best at 135. And he also, I'm not sure if you guys saw, gave a prediction to this particular fight with Lamont Roach. And he said that it would go all 12 rounds. He predicted the fight. And he's like, listen, I told y'all that this is how the fight would have went. And I'm telling y'all that Tank Davis cannot beat me. That's what Shakur Stevenson said, y'all. What y'all think about that? The King here for boxing. Thank you so much, King. I really do appreciate the color in the chat. Thank you. He says, Tink got his ass beat and the Tinkerbells are in shambles today. 8-4 Roach, 16-12. 116-112 without the knockdown. Extremely easy work. Damn, here for boxing. Listen, you damn right about that. Those damn Tinkerbells. Can you imagine what the week ahead is going to look like for these people trying to get on their platforms and, run amok through the minds of their followers, trying to convince them, trying to compel them, with arguments of justification for Tank Davis's performance and output, or lack thereof of output. I can only imagine, what these people would see. Thankfully, I don't follow any of those channels or anything like that, so I wouldn't know. But I do come across a little, things coming in on Twitter. When I scroll, I see people of that mindset, So I can only imagine what the week is going to bring of those people. I'm sure they're crashing out already. When I was on Champside's panel today, there were no justifications that could be made. You had people attempting here and there, you know what I'm saying? But nobody could really explain the performance that was given. Nobody could really do it. So I don't know. I don't think that they can, because what can you say? Tank was lackluster. He did not throw his hands. He was not. Did Tank Davis look like the pound for pound king at 135 last night? Absolutely not. If you grade that performance, if it wasn't Tank Davis and you just separated the performance and graded the performance from, its own standpoint, would you consider the person in the ring a pound for pound fighter? No. If you took Tank Davis's name out of this, and let's say you were blindfolded, or he was blindfolded and you didn't know it was Tank Davis fighting, you would think that that's a, C-level fighter or something like that. Not the pound for pound king of the division. It's insanity. That wasn't a pound for pound fight. It wasn't up to Lamont Roach to make it so either. Tank Davis is the pound for pound king of the division. He did not fight like he's the king of the hill. He fought like he's over the hill. Real talk. The lovely King Darrow says Tank got whooped by a 16-year-old Devin. Yes, he did at that particular time. Yes, he did. Devin definitely won the bet. Oh my goodness, my beautiful King BFTB is in the building. Yes, beautiful King. Thank you so much for coming. He says, what's goody, goddess? What's up, beautiful God? Nice to see you. Always thankful to have you in the building. Appreciate you. Yes, that performance was absolute disservice to all of boxing. It served no purpose. So it's one thing if he would have gotten that ring. Let's say he did all the work that he did to pull up a 130 pounder. Let's say the storyline was still the same, that nobody had asked for Roach. Let's say all of those things were still set in place. But if the outcome was that we got an amazing fight, you know what I'm saying? That we saw output, that we saw intention, that we saw purpose, that we saw these people trying to claim turf. That's a whole different, completely, different story. That's a story that differs from the lackluster, standing still in one moments and then jumping on your bike in the next goddamn moments, and high guards, but no output following that. That's a whole different story than the outcome that we saw. If those two men had showed up and really put on a great performance and really tried to, show who is the king. If we saw Lamont Roach coming in there trying to dethrone Tank Davis, that would have been a completely different objective. None of that was on deck. Lamont Roach was not trying to dethrone Tank Davis last night. He was there to fight. He was in there to stand his ground. You know what I'm saying? And to prove that he's not, gonna back down from him. But there was no beheading. And Tank Davis didn't say, yeah, let me slap this kid up, upside the head a little bit and show him why I rule this division. There was none of that from his end either. Nobody was claiming territory. There's no excuse for that on my end. Did you guys at any moment feel that was, a high-level competitive elite fight between two elite boxers? You let me know, because my eyes didn't see it. Yes, King Stephen, the knee was absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Nothing can justify that. Of all the things that man could have said, the man said the motherfucking Dax hair grease, the cream of nature, got in his hair. I'm sorry, slid down from his hair and into his eyes, and it stung my eyes. Oh my God. Stung your eyes. Like I said earlier, this is the man who fought I don't know how many rounds with an injured hand against Pitbull with his big ass head. Injured his hand in the ring during the fight. Cracked him so hard, he cracked his own goddamn hand upside that man's head. Finished the fight. Didn't take a knee, didn't bat an eye. But now all of a sudden the damn hair grease made you take a knee? The hair grease didn't make you stop and rub your eyes for a second, let's say, and turn left and turn right. No, it made you take a knee. The hair grease in your eye, but the broken hand didn't do, you know what? It's just, you really just can't make this stuff up. You really just cannot. Nothing and nobody ever made this man take a knee in the ring in his professional career, but the damn hair grease did. Diabolical. The King Mo, I see you in the building. Nice to see you. He says, I didn't have a horse in the race, but after the knee, I was going for Roach. What the fuck was that? Exactly, King Mo. Couldn't have said it better. Jason Williams in the building. Nice to see you. He says, nope, Tank didn't look elite. If we're being real, neither did Lamont, but he performed incredibly. Exactly my point. That's the basis of the conversation, was that neither Tank Davis or Lamont Roach looked elite. That was not a pound for pound fight in the least bit. You know what I'm saying? We giving, Lamont his accreditation because he stood toe to toe with the pound for pound king of 135 and one of the pound for pound kings in all of boxing. So yes, the accreditation goes to him there. But as far as the overall performance, when we judge an elite performance, it paled in comparison to that of, what the fight just previous to that, which was Antoine Russell and Rayo. It paled in comparison to David Morrell and David Benavidez. It paled in comparison to Devin Haney and Regis Prograis. You understand what I'm saying? Where levels are shown, where stake is claimed. Those men claim stake, and we saw them in real time claiming stake. We saw their purpose, their fervor, their heart, their goal, their tenacity. We saw none of that on display between these two men last night. Nobody had anything to prove to each other. What did they prove to each other? Except that, that even kill. Nobody had a will to show the degrees of separation between them and the other man. That's the problem for me. There was no will to establish. Very problematic to me. King Stephen says, I'm glad this fight didn't happen in Black History Month. Amen to that, King Stephen. The fuck? My ancestors would have been turning over in their grave. What? Hails to the nah. Hails to the nah. Not in Black History Month. Facts. The King Ra salutes you. He says, nah, nobody trying to hear that. Ciao. The King Uncommon says, nah, Queen. You don't understand. Tank's hair grease is extra zesty, so it burns more than regular grease. Oh my goodness, Uncommon. I guess so. He had the extra zestfully tangy hair grease. He had the tangerine one, so it was extra zesty. I guess so. I guess so, King Uncommon. The Great Mike says, I saw Tank's BS catch up with him. He got beat by a guy who was tired of hearing he wasn't worthy for the last couple of months, but nobody looked elite in the ring. Yeah, big facts. Big facts. Big facts, King Mike. Lovely Daryl says, it makes you wonder what Shakur, Loma, or Keyshawn would do to him that night. or would have done to him that night. Yeah, it definitely does, you know. And it really does beg the question that after he is, he's received a level of castigation more than he has in his entire career for taking this fight with Lamont Roach, right? For picking Lamont Roach. This is the most castigation he's faced in his entire career as far as his choice of opponent. Now, the outcome of the fight is bringing a level of castigation and as a sense of people being dismayed with his performance more than he's ever faced in his life. I'm wondering what the result of that would be on his part now that he's received this level of disavowing from the boxing public. What is going to be the response now? Is this going to inspire Tank Davis to say, listen, okay, well, people didn't like me choosing Lamont Roach. I wound up having a draw as an outcome in the fight with Lamont Roach. Maybe I could step it up and, fight Keyshawn. Maybe I could step it up and fight, Shakur Stevenson next. Do you think that'll motivate him to do it? What do y'all think? I think that man would die the death of a dog before he fights Shakur Stevenson. That's just how I feel about it. Everything that man has done has kept him away from Shakur Stevenson and has provided the excuse for him to not fight Shakur Stevenson. I just don't see it in any particular type of future. Maybe in another dimension. I don't know. Maybe if we go to the fucking fourth dimension, there's a Tank Davis who's with the shits and will fight Shakur Stevenson. But in this motherfucking universe, Joe, I just don't see it popping. I just don't see a way that, he will find the girth and the courage and the gall to get in the ring with that man. You would think that after a lackluster performance, after a lackluster choice of opponent, according to the large boxing world, that he would want to prove himself and solidify himself and reclaim that sense of stature that he's had with a part of the boxing public that has become disenchanted with him. But I just don't even think that would inspire him because, of course, this is a man who has 1 foot out the door. Basically, to me, he don't even have 1 foot out the door. This nigga only got an elbow in the door. The rest of him is out the door already to me. So I doubt that he would want to even, reverse the level of disenchantment. I don't think that he's interested or cares about, appealing to the boxing world's affection for him or, our desire to hold him up as one of the best. I don't even think he gives a fuck about that anymore. In fact, he even alluded to, that very thing, that he doesn't care what people think. He wants to do what he wants to do. He wants to retire. He wants to go back to school. He wants to do this or that. And, all these other statements that he's been making, to the contrary of him having a love for the sport still. He just doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. And he also doesn't have a passion to compete against the best, which is even worse. That's what's worse to me. It's not the retirement. What's always been my issue with Tank Davis for as long as he's been doing this level of ducking and pussyfooting around has been just that. That's what has dismayed me the most about him is his refraining from fighting the competition that we want to see him fight. That's my problem. And he and the threatening of the retirement is just like, yo, bro, are you going to fight the people? Are you going to fight Shakur Stevenson? Are you going to prove that you're the best? Are you going to show why, all of these people have loved you for all of this time and have supported you? Why these people make up lies just to uphold the myth about you? Are you at least going to prove them right? He won't even prove the man fans right, let alone the actual boxing goers. The diehards. He said, fuck everybody. That's what's dismaying to me. Salute to the King. G Road in the building. Salute to you, King. I didn't know you joined us today. Thank you, King, for joining me. I was on the panel with G Road earlier today on Champ Sides panel. Salute to the King, G Road. He says, Keyshawn said he would stop that boy, and he just might. Yes, he did, King G Road. Yes, he did say that. Yes, he did. And Shakur Stevenson outright said that he cannot beat me, which I think is being made very, very plain. I think it's being evinced very, very thoroughly for a lot of people who were, having Tank Davis up on this superhero pedestal. A lot of things in question now, like, could Shakur Stevenson, pose a difficulty? And in what way? And I think people are even more interested in seeing how Shakur Stevenson could bypass all of these, alleged great untouchable attributes of of Tank Davis at this point. I think that opens even more inquiry into what can be done in a fight between them. Now that we saw this performance from Tank Davis, he is not so invincible anymore because a 130-pounder stepped in the door and said, listen, I'm on an even playing field with your king. How is that possible? If that's not diabolical, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. The King Snoopy says he got heels in the door. Yeah, basically. Salute Jay. He says salute Sugar Free in chat. Thank you for coming. Salute to you as well. Great Mike says Keyshawn called Tank food on Twitter last night. Yeah, and it's of course it's to be expected. A lot of people are going to be looking at him as food. You know what I'm saying? As if he wasn't already, on the plate. How many people have been calling Tank Davis's name? Shakur Stevenson has been calling his name. It's not anything new. And so a whole slew of other people, I'm sure, who may have had a sense of reticence before are now going to begin calling his name. I mean, that's part and parcel to the game. That's to be expected. Chink in your armor, anybody observes that, they're going to think that they have the key to unlock that code. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. Maybe we'll get people stepping and pressing, more to Tank Davis. Because he's been sitting like a diva on a hill for how long? Thinking that he's goddamn untouchable. It's about goddamn time that people, start looking at him as the food that he is. Because he is food too. Yeah, he's the king of the division, but that don't mean that he can't be got. You can take the head of the king. You just got to work to do it. So hopefully that inspires some competition in these people, around him to say, nah, I want Tank Davis next. I want Tank Davis next. Let me get it. But the thing is, it's like, will he take the challenge? Particularly when it comes to the elite of the division, which to me right now is Shakur Stevenson at the top, Keyshawn Davis next, and Lomachenko. But we don't know what Lomachenko is going to do. We don't even know if he's coming back to boxing. That man is holding on to the belts like a stripper holds on to a pole. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what that man is going to do with that belt. But at least we have that we could account for two standing champions aside from Tank Davis being Shakur and Keyshawn Davis. So, hopefully they start doing some big stepping. But like I said, the only downside to that is that we are dealing with Tank Davis, who is very fickle and who has made it plain publicly that those two gentlemen bring nothing to the table, but they just happen to be the biggest competition in his division. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. It's the most puss thing, happening in boxing right now, in my view. I hate the puss activity at 135. I hate the evasion. I hate the, you got to prove yourself. Oh, you got to talk to me nice. Oh, you got to give me some Ferraris. You got to buy me some daffodils. Yeah, you got to throw some chocolates and some rose petals on the floor for me to fight you. I'm tired of that pussy ass shit. It's disgusting to me. 135 needs a real big wake up call. And I think maybe the performance that we saw last night was a wake up call. And I think there's a lot more on the way. A lot more wake-up calls are going to be on the way for this division because the nonsense has to end now. A lot more wake-up calls are probably on their way. I don't doubt it at all. And hopefully, whatever they may be, will put all of this bullshit to rest. All this tiptoeing to rest. Daryl says the bully got punched in the nose. We all know what happens after that. Yeah, it's up. It's up after that. I still doubt he takes on challenges. Yes. Yeah, exactly my point. My sentiments exactly. Great Mike. At the end of the day, it's up to him. He's the A-side. He's the A-side. He can get the ball in motion. He sets the pace. You know what I'm saying? He generates the ammunition. You know what I'm saying? But, with this type of lackluster rhetoric, about the sport, about his disenchantment with the sport, I don't know what to expect. And that's why I posed the question earlier, what is his trajectory and what do we expect of that trajectory as boxing fans? And moreover, as his fans, what can we expect of the trajectory of a man who is telling you he doesn't give a fuck about the sport? Should we be expecting anything of this man? That's the question I've been posing for quite some time. Salute to the King G-Road back in the super chat with a 5-piece. Thank you so much, King, for supporting me and the channel. I really do appreciate you, G-Road. He says, the wall's closing in. The kitchen is getting hot and filling up with smoke. Now he wants therapy. His whole coochie showing. It is. He wore a skirt with no drawers on, King G-Road. Okay. He went commando. He is fully exposed. Absolutely. He's in the kitchen. He can't take the heat. And the retirement is the escape route from the smoke entering the building. 100%. And I have no doubts that he would retire without fighting these beautiful brothers. I have no doubt. And I think that's what he's pushing to do. I think that's actually the goal. And so we got the Lamont Roach fight as a distraction. Now we got the Lamont Roach rematch. And hell, who knows if there's going to be a goddamn trilogy. All of these are distractions away and blockades in the way of actually materializing the fights that we want to see. It's disgusting work, treacherous work. The Key of Life, I see you in the building. Nice to see you. He says, Tank can't even get into the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Not with this behavior, not with this output, not with this, opponent selection. What is he going to be remembered for, real talk? Paulie Malignaggi said something on Twitter that was absolutely, and we know Paulie can be a big time hater, but sometimes once in a while, he'll speak plainly on a particular matter. He says, I don't understand how this man can be, the face of boxing. You know what I'm saying? And he has not fought one pound for pound champion in his entire career. And it's really something to think about. It's really something to, ponder as a boxing fan. We have to look at that and we have to think about these things because we're quick to talk about all the champions and all the greats that we love and have loved throughout history. And then we come to somebody like Tank Davis and we don't hold him to the same standard. Why is he able to elude and evade the standard that we've held the best of the best on? If they weren't good enough to bypass that type of evaluation, and they're the giants and legends and ancestors of the sport, who the fuck is he to not be held to the same accord? If I got to turn to my left and look at Sugar Ray, if I got to turn to my right and look at Duran, if I got to turn over here and look at Hagler, if I got to turn over here and look at, I always forget this man's name. He's in my damn head. I can't remember, but move on. Somebody like Roy Jones or somebody like Tyson or somebody like, you know what I'm saying? De La Hoya, even in his prime. De La Hoya was that dude. If we hold these people up to that particular type of standard and they lived by it and they rose up to the occasion, who the hell is it Tank Davis to not have to face that fire? And he ain't do a fraction of what those men did. But he could bypass going through the fire? Y'all, these people out here be tripping. He didn't do a fraction of what these men did. But he gets to get over here and tiptoe and saunter around and drink lemonade with his goddamn pinky up. Like he done been there and done that and achieved and accomplished everything. He ain't really put no goddamn work in. And he's refusing to do so. But we're giving him the goddamn red carpet treatment as if this man done, held the sport up on his back. It's farcical to assume such a thing. Absolutely, King Darryl. The list goes on and on. Hearns, Lennox, and any great, giant, beautiful brother king that you want to name. He didn't do a fraction of what these brothers did. But he's allowed to saunter around as if he's the most accomplished boxer in the sport currently. It's not the case. And that's where the whole numbers debacle comes in. Well, he sold this amount of it. He sold this amount of it. Who the fuck did he fight? His motherfucking pocketbook can't go into the Hall of Fame. His resume does. These people are dickheads, yo. Stop telling me what this man sold. As if that's going to be, on a plaque in the Hall of Fame records next to Ali. Next to Ray Robinson. It's not. His resume is. His valor is. The testament to that valor is. That's what goes into the Hall of Fame. His goddamn purse don't. His Gucci bag don't. His chrome hearts don't. These people are infantile. Infantile. Illogical bullshit. That's what these people spew on a daily goddamn basis with that ridiculous logic. This fight served no purpose to boxing, just like, apparently his boxing career hadn't. His boxing resume hasn't. And what we saw last night was a composite of all of these things. Lackluster begets lackluster energy. Lackluster mentality begets a lackluster output and outcome. And we're seeing a culmination of these things. He got to step up or get the fuck out of the way. I know a lot of people don't like when I be, saying stuff like that, but that shit is true. I don't hold my goddamn tongue. Piss or get off the damn pot. These Tank fans are way too goddamn sensitive when it comes to this man. He has to show and prove too. But these people to be the first one. Why don't Devin go fight Boots? Why don't Devin go fight Usyk? Why don't Devin go fight Anthony Joshua? Tell Devin to go fight Canelo. Tell Devin to fight Terrence Crawford. Why don't Devin and EJ get in the ring? All these stipulations of greatness being put on Devin Haney, the person who's actually showing up to do the business. And the person who's sitting up there getting his goddamn toenails painted has no onus, no responsibility in his hands. Not that Devin Haney wouldn't rise to whatever occasion is in front of him, because obviously he constantly sets the standard. Just like I was blessed enough to tell Bill personally that his son sets the standard. And it's true. But all of the responsibility and expectation is put on somebody like that. Devin Haney never cowered. He always sought to accomplish. He always sought to set the mold and to create the terms and to create his lane his way. He's always done that. Now he's going up to welterweight. He's a 147 pounder and he will, continue to achieve wonderful things. Tank Davis it's like a race. When they shoot the gun and the two men take off, Devin Haney is, miles ahead. Tank Davis ain't even crossed the finish line. He didn't even cross the start line. And he's 30. And we're looking at him giving him all this accreditation, saying how great he is, and he barely even crossed the threshold. He barely got an inch away from the start point compared to that of somebody like Devin Haney. And we're turning to Tank Davis and we're saying, yo, you great. Don't you know you great? You can catch up to Devin. You can catch up to whoever. Even putting Devin Haney aside, because I hate bringing his name up to Tank Davis because literally he's levels, there's levels. So we can't even mention those two men in the same degree anymore, especially considering now the fact that Devin Haney is a welterweight. We can't even mention these two men in the same sentence anymore at this particular juncture. So I will use Shakur instead. We're looking at Tank Davis says, listen, you're great. Look, there's another great brother next to you. Don't y'all want to, you know what I'm saying? Don't y'all want to show and prove valor? Two beautiful brothers? And he's saying, well, no. I don't want to show, my valor. I don't want to show how great I am, but you damn well better call me the king. You damn well better say, I'm the best over here. Or like he sat in that interview and said, oh, I think I'm already on Ray Leonard's, level and Mayweather's level already. And ain't do shit. He ain't give no blood. No sacrifice. But you want the title? It's crazy to me. And the weird thing is that we want to give it to him. We want to tell him that he's a king. We want to sit back in awe of his talent and of the potential that we see bubbling within him. We want to. But he is refusing to give. He's refusing to give, but he's telling you to give to him. Give me the glory, give me the rankings, give me the pound for pound, give me this, give me that. But I don't want to prove nothing to you. What type of twisted, toxic ass shit is that? In what other sport is that okay? It doesn't work, y'all. The logic doesn't work. And to the cognizant ones, like us in this particular type of room, to the brothers that I respect so much and so deeply, the beautiful King Champ side, the beautiful King BFTB, the brother Jude, the King 7-8, all the real ones out here stepping on business. You know what I'm saying? Can see through the folly and don't allow for that type of dialogue to parade our spaces. We keep the dialogue truthful, and all of you brothers, beautiful brothers and sisters up in here who know what time it is, who also don't allow for that type of folly to be accepted in your spaces. It's ridiculous. At the end of the day, we just want to see great boxing. We want to give the kingship. Nobody is saying, listen, fight this person so that we can see who you are, so that we can see you not be called a king. We're telling you to fight each other so we can deem who the fuck the king is. Not to withhold the kingship, to crown the king. You got to be a sassy bitch to say, oh, okay, well, you want me to show and prove who I am, so you hating on me. You want me to actually, show you that I'm the best, just like I've been saying. You got to be a sassy motherfucker to complain about something like that. Oh, I can't show you who I am. But you gotta show me who you are. Ain't that some shit? He's telling Shakur Stevenson or whoever else that he could think of, and that he want to get sassy with at the moment. You gotta show and prove who you are. This is the same motherfucker who refuses to fight comp, of worth, of note. But everybody else gotta show and prove to him who they are. He ain't gotta do shit. He ain't gotta lift a finger. He too busy getting his forehead dabbed of the soul glow that's running down his eye. Like he's Prince. Dab my forehead, Calvin. The fuck? Oh, child. We can go on and on for days about this, you guys. Real talk, it gave me a bit of a headache. You know what I'm saying? Earlier today, and even now I'm still like kind of through with it all. But I think that, all of that just proves my point about everything that I've been saying over the past few months. I think what I have been saying has been, put into a composite that has led to the outcome that we saw last night with Tank Davis. It was nothing but a display of that culmination. And, accountability is necessary for Tank Davis. He can no longer continue to disservice the sport with lackluster performances, this lackluster performance that we got last night. Is this something that we should be anticipating from him, moving forward? Because this is, of course, his first performance since all of the rhetoric that he's been spewing out about him wanting to leave and this being his last year. Can we anticipate only this type of performance from this young man from here on out? from now until his goddamn retirement, whenever the hell that's supposed to be, I sure as hell won't be signing up. I don't give a damn how many more fights this man has. I will not be paying. Just like I refused to, patronize this particular fight last night. I won't stand in for that, And then for it to be followed with a level of immaturity, with a level of carelessness, with a level of unprofessionalism, with illegalities in the ring and crazy ass moves in the ring that's not getting called. And God damn, Jesus, what is going on with this brother? It's insane, y'all. It's insane. So whatever the trajectory is for Tank Davis, I guess we only, can bear witness to at this particular point, but I will not be supporting it so long as it's not in support of the upholding of the sport that I love, of the sportsmanship and warriorship that I respect. And that is not what we got last night. That's not what we got last night. I'm not in a celebratory mood, about a draw. I'm not in anticipation in any type of capacity for a rematch with Lamont Roach. I think Lamont Roach went in there, like I said again, he did what he had to do. He held his own, and he also showed that he is on par with the number one pound for pound king at 135, which is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's nothing to celebrate, in my opinion. Tank Davis, I don't even know if there's a drawing board for him to go back to, because what is he really reevaluating if his heart is not even in the game? Which also makes me think, what is his relationship with his coaches? Were his coaches even coaching him in that ring? Were they talking to him? What is the relationship like? What is he going to be looking like entering into another fight as far as his coaches and that relationship and dynamic between his coaches? What the fuck is going on? That's why my consensus is that he should just pack it up. Just go on, bro. I don't know what's aligned with this man. But if he's going to be performing like that, waywardly and half-heartedly, I will have no part of it, and I refuse to support it. Let me see what my people are talking about before we close this up. Salute King Freedom. Nice to see you. He says, Tonka Truck Davis is trash. Here for Boxing says, the fact that they're celebrating a draw tells you what really happened. Thank you. And speaking of that, here for Boxing, did you see how tepid his energy was about that decision? Did you see, first of all, he tried to be dramatic in the ring by raising his hands when they announced that draw and bending over like, oh my God. And then he got into that post presser and was calm as a summer breeze in June. Calm as a summer breeze in June. Nothing about him was affected. Nothing about him was affected, whatever. Did y'all see that? He did not seem upset or perturbed, unnerved by a draw, the first draw and only draw on his record. I mean, what the fuck is really going on? He didn't look moved at all. Interesting stuff. The great Mike says, yep, at age 26, Devin is trying to become a champion in his third weight class, but people attack Devin. Thank you. Thank you. And I think that attack on Devin is precisely because they have to look back at Tank Davis and see that he is nowhere near that particular level. They have to deal with the reality of that. That Devin Haney is miles and miles and miles ahead. And then they have to look at their favorite and say, well, my favorite didn't even unify a belt in his career and the entirety of his career. And here Devin is being undisputed. Here he is attempting to become a champion in a third weight division and so forth and so on. It's a lot to reckon with for those particular people who want to hate, but who also have to deal with the reality that their favorite is, steps down when we talk about resume and stature and accomplishments. Daryl says, we have more faith in Tank than Tank does himself. That's the problem. Yeah. That's the sad part. Mike says, Queen Sugar Free, you match my frustration with Dude and his fans. Facts, King. Yeah, it's all very, very disheartening. All very disheartening. And I just don't know why there is this hard wall. It feels like I'm banging my head up on a wall every time I talk about Tank Davis as of late, as of the past year and a half, really. And it's just more and more frustrating. And at this point, I think I've just grown completely exhausted of trying to wrap my mind around what the possibility is for his future, because he's evincing for everyone that he does not want a future in boxing beyond, let's say, the next year or so. And that's the part that I'm like, yeah, I can't support that. I can't support that at all. If you have no intention on, walking the great path, there's no reason for me to be behind you. There's no reason for me to corral behind you at all. Because anything less than you assuming that greatness, like the beautiful brothers before you have, is disrespect to me. That's just how I view it. If you in the game, you got to do right by the game. We had too many brothers set the standard for you to be out here acting aloof all of a sudden. He had the tutelage of one of the best to ever do it. He had tutelage by one of the giants in the line of the people like Ali's and all the people that we love. He had Mayweather as his teacher, as his foundation. And, what a disgrace. What a disgrace. The King Ra says his reaction was diva-like. Yeah, wasn't it? It was. Everything was diva-like. Everything has been diva-like. That's another huge gripe that I have with this man. Diva-like, but ain't doing shit. At least do some shit. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather flung money all in the camera. He rolled up in his Rolls Royces. You know what I'm saying? He filled his planes with money and counted money on his planes and held the money up to his ears like it was a phone. You know why? Because he motherfucking proved himself. You know what I'm saying? He proved himself. He fought some of the best people that we could think of. We saw him get in there and have to hash it out. We saw him get in there and have to make adjustments with the best. In his time, in his day. Yes, he took on the persona of flashiness and stuff like that. Yes. Because he had earned it at that particular point. What did Tank Davis earn? To have all this diva, huffy, puffy, attitude. Paulie Malignaggi said it best. You know what I'm saying? This man is accredited as being, one of the best or whatever the hell you call it in the sport. Not a single pound for pound champion is on this man's resume. Yet he's deemed the best. Yet he's glorified. Yet he's exalted. It's just, and then he has the nerve to get an attitude when we say, oh my goodness, this person is also great. Wouldn't it be great to see two great elite warriors fight each other? And he's getting mad at us for asking, for posing the question. I mean, it just doesn't get more disrespectful than that. It's a disgrace. Yes, Daryl. Can't lie. Floyd Mayweather, the boxer, fought good threats. Tank has done nothing close to that. Absolute facts. I mean, we can run the gamut through and through Floyd's resume. It's not even, it'll be a joke to even try to sit here and compare the weight of Floyd's resume and, what is considered to be a resume with Tank Davis. It's just absolutely insidious. Absolutely insidious. Yeah, you guys, I think that's it for me. I literally have a headache after all of this stuff. I don't know what the 135 division will, breed. You know what I'm saying? We do have a new champion at 35 with Keyshawn Davis entering into the equation. Will we ever get the Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis fight? Because let's say Tank Davis continues to be a diva. And as I said earlier, If you guys recall, Tank Davis does only fight once a year. Um, so if he's out of the equation for for the remainder of the year, are Keyshawn and Shakur going to look at each other and say, what's popping? You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen? Real talk, I'm not even looking towards a return from Lomachenko. I'm not even thinking about Lomachenko when I think about 135. So I don't know what is going to be his plan or moves or anything like that. So I don't know. Real talk right now, I'm looking at the two, Keyshawn and Shakur, because pretty much, the division is in their hands. Um, can we expect a title shot for Abdullah Mason, who says that he wants to have a title shot before the end of the year? Is Keyshawn Davis going to fight the likes of Abdullah Mason? Of course, we have Schofield still on the prowl somewhere with his sassy daddy. Is sassy daddy going to, is his plan and trajectory to set up the fight with Tank Davis the way BF broke down for us last week? That whole trajectory with the falling out of the Shakur fight, is that going to now open up his opportunity to become the official mandatory of Tank Davis to fight for that strap? Is that fight going to be a possibility with Schofield and Tank? A lot of questions. The 135 division is nothing but questions, replete with question marks for me. I'm not impressed with this division at all. I'm waiting for the winds of change to hit this particular division because it desperately needs it. I don't like what I'm seeing. I haven't liked what I've been seeing for some time. Real talk, ever since Devin exited the division, it's been an absolute shambles. He demolished it. He left it a dead zone, after he accomplished, his undisputed, and nobody can cope ever since Devin left. Nobody's been the same since Devin left. So we'll see what happens. I really don't know what the outlook is for 135, but they better figure it the fuck out if they want me to continue to support it. Also, Shakur Stevenson's hands, he said that he doesn't think that he could fight more than 2 times a year. So he just had his fight last week. Can we anticipate him getting back in? It's just so many questions, y'all. Oh my goodness. Can you guys tell me of another division with this many question marks? It doesn't exist. It does not exist. 135 is crazy, you guys. It's all up in smoke, and not the smoke that I want, but the smoke of confusion. The smoke of confusion, you guys. Everything is inaccessible here. No unification's popping. It's just in shambles. Absolute shambles. I don't know what to make of it, but I guess we'll await to see what happens as the year continues to unfold. Of course, we're still very early in the year. It's only the 3rd month of the year. We definitely have some time to go. We'll see if things change. We'll see if people can grow some damn balls. We'll see if warriorship is respected. And we'll see if people will be, taking the fastest motherfucking plane out of sight and out of mind. I don't know what to expect, but we'll see. I think I'm going to end it there for now, y'all. First of all, before I end, I have to say a big thank you to all of my beautiful people, my members, Daryl Anderson, Michael Ray, Freedom's March, Pizzo, all of my beautiful brothers and sisters who came into the building today who are my members. I really do appreciate y'all. I got to show big love to my members, of course, because they stand 10 toes and prove it with your girl Sugar Free. So infinite love to all of my members, and definitely big love to all of the other people who joined today, who spent your little Sunday with me. I really do appreciate it, talking boxing. I hope that you guys have a beautiful week ahead. And yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next run. Of course, I'll continue to keep up with y'all in my community page. I think I should be dropping some separate content at some point during the week, so keep up with me there. And until next time, you guys, I will see you guys on the next one. Infinite love to all of you. Thank you to all of the beautiful people who sent me a super chat. I really do appreciate the support for the channel as I am growing. So I definitely appreciate you painting the room for me, putting some color in the super chat for me. I really do appreciate the support, you guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you very, very soon. Big love, y'all. Peace.